Good morning, class. I hope you're all well. In this video, we're going to look at reference lists, which is compiling a reference list is a very painstaking task, okay? So you need to just watch this and pay attention to the details in it. So, first of all, why do we use reference lists? Well, your in-text citations, which we talked about yesterday, only offer basic information of the source where you got your information from. So, for example, the author's name and year. Your reference list gives detailed information of the source. Okay, so people who have read your work, they might like your ideas and like what you've found out, and they might want to use your information as well. So the reference list shows your reader where to find the ideas that you've put into your report. Okay. Compiling a reference list also shows academic integrity. Now, we talked about this yesterday. So the academic honesty, and it shows that you haven't plagiarized. It shows this is the information I've used in my report. Here are my citations, and my citations, they correspond to my reference list. So where do you find your reference list? So it's at the end of the document and it's after the word count. And it's on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, separate page. Also, your reference list should be in alphabetical order, and this is according to the first letter of the author's family name. If there isn't an author, then use the first letter of either the company or the article, the newspaper article where you've drawn your information from. Okay, let's have a look at two examples. So here's one from an online newspaper source, and here's another from a company website. And in this video, this is all we'll focus on, basically online sources, because I believe this is mainly what you're going to use in your report. I don't think you're going to use any references from books, from physical books. So in this video, we're just going to keep it simple, and we're going to look at how to reference from a newspaper article and how to reference from a web page or website. Okay, this is fairly common. So first of all, we're going to look at a website with no author. Okay, and here we've got what we'd find an example of the citation in a report, and this is about the world's biggest companies. So here we go. As of 2019, the world's largest company was the International Commercial Bank of China. Okay, and this information was taken from Forbes in 2019. Okay, so this is our citation. Now, this citation corresponds to this entry in the reference list. And here we can see we haven't got an author, so we're using the company name, which is Forbes. Here we've got in brackets the year, comma, the month, and the date. Close brackets, full stop. Here we've got the name of the web page. Okay, so it's Forbes, quite a large company. They have many different web pages, and this is the web page that we've found this information here. This is where we found the information in this particular web page. So we have a full stop after the web page, space, capital R, retrieved from retrieve just means taken from. And then we've got the full web page. And it's not in blue, it's not underlined, yeah? It needs to look like this. Can you also notice as well that here we've got an indent of about 2 centimeters, so just one tab, yeah? And this needs to happen with all of the lines that follow the first line. So if our entry is about 3 lines, they all need to have this indent. You can see here on this entry, they're all of these lines that come after the first line, they've all got an indent, and this should also happen in your reference list. Okay. So in this case, we know the month and the year and the date of the web page. It's listed on the web page. Sometimes you might just have the year, and so you just put the year in here. And sometimes you don't have the year, in which case you put ND for no date. Okay, so it should just have ND here. And if you do have ND here, if there's no date, then in your citation you should also have N.D. close brackets, dot. It's very fiddly, I know, with the spaces, the commas and the full stops, but it's very, very important that you follow these examples precisely. Okay. Here as well, you should also have the paragraph, but don't worry about that. This is, for what we're doing, this is good enough. Just have an N.D. yeah, if there's no date on the web page. Okay, next. If we have a reference list and we've taken information from a website with an author, here, for example, it's just the same example, but we have an author, his name's Smith, 2019. And so in this case, we've just put Smith, comma, A, the initial of the first name, full stop, space, and then the brackets. And again, this is very important that you follow this precisely. Again, if we don't have the month or the date, we can just put the year. And if there isn't a year, just put N.D. And again, this should be reflected in the citation. Okay, as we can see here. Again, when you're putting your lists together, please have a look through this video. I'll send you the slides as well so that you can match your entries to the entries that I've got here. Okay. You don't need to memorize any of this, yeah? You can just copy this exact same format when you're putting your reference lists together. This is what I have to do when I write papers. I don't memorize this, you know, I have to research this. Okay, our second example, some of you will be going to the Times of Oman, Oman Observer, you'll be going to newspaper articles, and here we've got an example with an author. Okay, here's our citation, in-text citation, and there are 2 authors here. So according to Cadwallader, I think that's how we pronounce this, and Graham Harris, 2018, information from Facebook users was taken by a firm called Cambridge Analytica and sold. Okay, so this is it's about a report or an assignment on the use of information, yeah, the use of online information. So our citation here corresponds to the reference list entry here. And so we've got the name, the family name, the first writer, comma, their initial, full stop, comma, the symbol and, family name of the second writer, comma, their initial, and full stop. Okay, space. It's very, very fiddly, but you have to follow it like this. Okay. And then, again, as with the company websites, we've got the year, we've got the month, and we've got the date, close brackets followed by a full stop. Here in green, we can see the article name from the newspaper. We follow that with a full stop. Next, you can see in italics, we've got the name of the newspaper in blue. Okay, so the name of the newspaper needs to be in italics, full stop. And then again, we've got this retrieve from and the full web address. Okay, so the full web address. And again, that shouldn't be in blue and it shouldn't be underlined. And we have our indent here. In this example, let's say we've got a third writer, okay? So that our and symbol comes here at the end, and we just have a comma and a comma here. Okay, so after each name there's a comma. Okay. Now if we had the same citation and we were using the same source of information, but in the newspaper article there wasn't an author, we could just put according to The Guardian. So we just mentioned the newspaper and the year in our citation. And our reference list entry would look like this, which is very long, isn't it, at the beginning? So we need to write the full title of the article. Okay, here we've got the full title in green, full stop, and then the rest of the information would follow with the date and the year. Again, the newspaper in italics with a full stop and then retrieve from. Okay, so in summary, reference lists are required in all academic work. The examples in this talk follow the APA format, and it's the 6th edition format. Your reference list should be in alphabetical order, and you are not expected, remember, you're not expected to memorize the format, but you should be aware of websites where you can find examples. Okay, missing an S here, websites. So further reading, you can go, this is quite a nice website, Bowley Valley College, and it outlines it quite easily, you know, and simply how to put together some different reference list entries. Maybe I have it here, we can have a look. Yeah. So here if we had books, if any of you do want to use books, you can click on here and it will show you some examples. Let's click on. So here you've got ebooks, printed books, books with authors. Let's click on that. So it gives you some nice examples as well, and you can follow this. Okay, just finally, I just want to show you, this is a reference list, how it should look like. So here, this was something I did. Here we've got a word count, and then on the next page, we've got the reference list. You can see it follows alphabetical order. There's a space between each entry. Okay, I hope this video has helped. And if you have any questions, you just get hold of me on WhatsApp or MS Teams. We can have a chat. Okay, so now you should be able to also put in your reference list for your sources on your report.